Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, the 2019 release by From Software, and quite frankly, one of the best Souls games I have ever played. And I am more than sure that everybody who's watching this video right now, you are either planning to buy Sekiro, you are currently playing Sekiro, or you have played Sekiro many times in the past, and you're probably a pro at this game and you have platted it, unlike me. Now, don't get me wrong, I have finished Sekiro, I just did not get Platinum Trophy on it because it's so damn hard. And if we compare Sekiro Shadows Die Twice with Elden Ring, for example, I have found Sekiro, from my experience, to be more challenging, just because in Sekiro there's no builds you can make to help you in fights, there's no bosses you can cheese, right? It's all based on combat mechanics, actual skill, and perfect timing. But of course, Elden Ring is nowhere near easy itself.
Stop the cap!
Today though, we're not talking about Elden Ring, we are talking about Sekiro Shadows Die Twice and asking the million-dollar question. Did this game die off over the years? Maybe because of Elden Ring's release, maybe because of other factors, or is it still surviving and thriving? Okay, now all jokes aside, everything I will be saying from this point forward is entirely my opinion and my experience with Sekiro. I finished it quite some time ago and I had so much fun with the game. And to answer the million-dollar question straight away, I strongly think that Sekiro is not even surviving, it's still easily thriving as a Souls game. And for many people, it's the best Souls game ever made, and for good reason too. Let's all be honest here. Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. What's your thoughts on Sekiro? Personally, I think that the combat experience in this game is like no other Souls games. What I mean by this is that the combat mechanics in Dark Souls 3 in Elden Ring, they are incredibly classic Souls-like, very stiff. Sekiro is like a breath of fresh air. It's so versatile and it's so much more satisfying when you pull off those combos with the prosthetic. It's just a whole new experience. That's why some people say it's not even like a Souls game, but of course it's still made by From Software. And I don't know if you guys care about my opinion or not, but I do think it's a Souls game.
We don't care. Let me tell you, we don't care.
And another reason why I think Sekiro should still be played to this day, and I'm sure it is still being played to this day, is that this game is not easy. Like, at all. In my experience, coming from Elden Ring and then starting Sekiro, it was a big step up and a big challenge. Why, you ask? Well, firstly, this game is not intuitive at all. What I mean by that is that, yes, it is more linear than Elden Ring, for example, which is a big open world game. But at the same time, that kind of linearity, if I can call it that, comes with so many more challenges. For example, the AIs in Sekiro, like the abnormal enemies that you see and they respawn every time you sit and rest, they are so much stronger than in Elden Ring. Some of these guys could literally one-tap you if you are under-leveled. And I'm saying this because when I literally first started playing the game, I somehow found myself in a late game area and I was approaching enemies and got absolutely obliterated. I don't know where I was, apparently I was like in a side thing. That's what I mean when this game's not intuitive, especially for smart people like your boy.
Cap.
And of course, the fact that in Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, you can't change your weapon. You only have one katana for the whole game. You can't put any armor on or, do stuff like that will help you in fights or with bosses. When I first started Sekiro, that's like the main thing that shocked me, but at the same time, that was the most fun part of the game and the thing that I was really excited for, because I was like, in this game, you don't really have any advantage over other players. All players have the same weapon, have the same character, with the same attributes, and all it takes to beat this game is pure skill and timing and perfection. The moment when I realized that, I was incredibly excited because I knew that it's not like you have the wrong build for the boss, or the wrong weapon, or not the right armor or stuff like that. Yes, some bosses in Sekiro can get stunned easily by specific prosthetics and stuff like that, but still, that's one aspect of the game that I really enjoyed, but it was pretty tough for me to actually get used to the prosthetic and use it correctly. Now, if we talk about how popular Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is actually in this year, in 2023. From my research, from the stuff that I found on the web, which I am gonna clarify, I am not 100% sure this is correct, but this is what I found on multiple websites. Sekiro averages around 6,080 daily players as of 2023, which in my opinion is not bad at all for a game that was released back in 2019 and for a Souls game that does not have that big of a replayability system like Elden Ring does. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are multiple endings in Sekiro, but as we mentioned before, the story is pretty linear itself, besides minus or plus a few boss fights if you pick different choices in the end game. But of course, when you compare it to something like Elden Ring, where you can do up to 6-5 playthroughs and still not explore everything, I think 6,000 players is an amazing number. With that being said though, get ready to be surprised. Sekiro in its prime peaked at over 125,000 concurrent players, and on release date there were more than 108,000 concurrent players playing. So to sum it up for you, Sekiro was a damn success for both From Software and Activision. And if I'm being fully honest now, we were saying earlier that Elden Ring was a factor of why Sekiro isn't as popular anymore, but now that I'm actually giving it a good thought, I might have been wrong. You see, this is how I look at it. Elden Ring was a massive hit, a big hit. It got Game of the Year 2022. It's still heavily played this year, and when Elden Ring came out, there was that new wave of players that have never played a Souls game before and started out with Elden Ring and either loved it or hated it and never played another Souls game again. But those who loved it, I think they wanted more and they searched for other Souls games and obviously stumbled across Sekiro and decided to give it a shot. I think that's a pretty accurate statement. And if what I just said described you, make sure you let me know in the comments down below. And now that we talked about all of the good things in Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, all the pros like incredible combat system, very polished mechanics and gameplay, stunning visuals, very satisfying finishers and combos, a very well-made parrying system. I could go on for days. Let's talk about some of the cons of this game. I actually grabbed these cons from Reddit and other forums, and I'm going to basically state them and then say if I agree with them or not. I want you guys to let me know what you all think about these in the comments down below. First con, recycled bosses. Genichiro, Owl, Ishin, Bull, Basic Generals, Corrupted Monk, Ape. I personally don't agree with this. I wouldn't say they're recycled. Yes, some of the bosses repeat themselves, spoiler alert. You first fight the Guardian Ape, then there's like 2 apes, but I don't say that's recycling. I feel like that's sort of part of the story, and I honestly don't mind fighting bosses. Yes, they're incredibly challenging, they're tough to fight, you need some getting used to before you actually beat a boss. But that's just part of the fun for me. Next, stealth can feel clunky. Look, I don't think my opinion really matters here, just because I'm not a big stealth guy, especially in Sekiro. I barely use stealth. Yes, sometimes you use stealth to get like an upper hand on a boss with 2 lives, but other than that, I usually just go ham and, you know, have fun with it. So you'll let me know how you guys think of the stealth. Personally, I didn't encounter any problems with it. Next one, extreme lack of customization that discourages further replays. Now with this one, I can agree with. It's not like you can customize anything in Sekiro, and the other part discourages further replays. We talked about this as well a few minutes ago. Hardly agree on this. If they added some customization options or some different outfits, it would have been so cool. Next one, most prosthetic tools aren't actually that useful. Okay, what? No way, man. I hardly disagree with these. Yes, there's a lot of prosthetic tools you can get, but most of them are pretty useful. I don't know, I haven't like gotten every single one, but I had like a few good amounts of prosthetics and they were all pretty useful. Like if something didn't work on a boss, I would have used something else or something else, and eventually something will work. I don't know, from my experience, this is not true. With that being said, guys, we have finally reached the end of this video, but before I call it quits for today, I wanted to mention one thing. I in no means hate Elden Ring or other Souls games besides Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. We're big Souls game fans here on the channel, and we're actually doing a second playthrough of Elden Ring here on YouTube. We're live every Saturdays and Sundays, so if you want to come check us out, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and never miss a stream or another video. And if you did enjoy this video, feel free to drop a like, so that way we know you want to see more content like this. And yeah, we talked about the pros, the cons of Sekiro in this video, why people play it, and most importantly why you should play it. So if this video helped you make that decision, if you're somebody who's still wondering if you should buy it or not, you 100% should. Last but not least, take care of yourselves and see you in the next one. Peace.